All right, we're good to go. Apologies for the late start, everyone.
Okay, you said we're good. Okay. Good day. So today, my name is Jasmine Chipman, and today we're going to be, before we begin, we're just gonna do a little recap of what we did yesterday. So you should have your drawing of your endangered animal. If you wanted to have it outline, you can, or if you want to use the paper to outline, you can do that as well. If you're using the paper to outline, we're going to go over that on, well, tomorrow. But if you're going to outline with marker, which is fairly easier, you can use marker. Okay, so you should have your endangered animal. If you're outlining, your animal should be outlined today. And now you should map out where you want your colors to go on your animal, as well as the materials we're going to make, the mediums we're going to make to use in our collage. Just remember, this is a mixed media collage. So I mapped out the colors. So the colors that we're going to be using, are analogous colors. Analogous colors are groups of colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. Five groups of colors that are next to each other, 5 colors. So if you look over here on this chart, these are the colors, and we have a color wheel on the chart for you to see. So let's say we're going to use this set of colors. So we have yellow, yellow, orange, orange, red. This would be your group of analogous colors. And these are all of the primary colors, the secondary colors, and the tertiary colors. So this would be one group. And then if you want to come over here and you want to have darker colors, you could use red, violet, blue, violet, blue. So you pick whatever your favorite color is, and then you just count to 5 going either left or right. So that would be your colors that you're using. So remember, analogous colors only for your piece. So once you select your colors, you're going to map out where do you want your colors to go. So I want my flamingo to be orange, and I wanted my water to be a mixture of yellows, orange, and reds. So I made sure to write it out before I put the colors down so that I don't make the mistake and put orange here while I'm working, and then orange here again. So then so I'm going to give you some time now. At this moment, you could map out your colors. I'm going to give you about 3 minutes. So it's 10:11. At 10:13, we could move on.
So could you point to the text that you have written there?
Yeah, so right here I have orange. My background is going to be an orange, and my flamingo is a yellow orange. And then I also wrote down what medium I want to use. So I have torn magazine here. And then up here for my banana leaves, I have the color, I wrote red. I want them to be red. And then I'm going to use newspaper. So I'm going to show you how to make that. I'm going to use a newspaper wash. Up here I use yellow.
So you're just going to give them a few moments to map up the color.
Yes. So you should be mapping out your colors right now. And the color charts are up here for you. The color wheel is here for you. Write down and with pencil or pen because it's going to get covered up.
And for those who are joining, like, could you just recap on the materials you're going to need for this
Okay.
today?
So for today's activity, you're going to need your newspaper, your paints. You're going to need some cardboard and your magazine or book and some colorful chart paper in place of the magazine, as well as the oil pastels, or crayons are fine. So those are all you need today, as well as your endangered friend drawing from yesterday. Okay, so everyone should have their images mapped out by now. So now I'm going to show you how to create the first wash. Well, the first medium that we're working with, which is going to be the newspaper wash. So you're going to put some newspaper down on the floor so that it doesn't mess up the area that you want to use in your collage and put it down. So now I want to use a red newspaper wash. So I got my red paint and I dip my brush in it a little bit and make sure my brush is nice and wet. And the reason why we're doing this is so that everything has an opportunity to dry because you can't tear the newspaper until it's dry or else it's gonna tear very badly. And if you like it this dark, you can leave it this dark. If you want it to be a lighter color, you just add more water, take off some of the red, and just add more water to bring it down. So you still see a little bit of the red. Now, in a case like this, because we're only using analogous colors, it would be better to use it on the black words.
As opposed
To the
to,
blue,
right.
because the blue is in a part of the color set. Okay. So now everybody you get color you choose. And remember, if you want it to be dark, don't want it to be dark, better. And then also you could read the newspaper and see what words. See, this one is about the environment and it's speaking about is all a part of the reasons why some of these animals are extinct. So it sends a powerful message. And you could use, so I'm just going to show you if you want to use like a yellow orange, but you only have the primary colors, which are the red, blue, and yellow. So these are primary colors, but you want to make orange. So I'm going to take my my yellow with one paintbrush. Woo, okay. And it's good to have some napkins nearby and some clean water. I don't know. Yeah. So I'm going to put some yellow in out of my container. And I'm going to get another paintbrush or just make sure you wash off the yellow completely. And I'm going to take some red. Try to use equal amounts of the yellow and equal amount of the red to get an even color. And because I'm going to use this to stir, it's okay. So now I'm looking at this and I can see that it needs more yellow. So this here would be a red orange color. But we want more so an orange color. So we'd add more of the yellow. The yellow and the yellow brush and because you want to use that brush. And as you can see, as you add more of the yellow, the color orange appears. So if you make the red orange and you try to make the orange, if you want more of a
Knowing that again, may have had some connection that they haven't.
This orange right here that we have, omit the yellow on top, the orange that we have, but I guess we could look at this one, was created by using equal parts yellow and equal parts red. Yellow and red are primary colors to make the secondary color, which is orange. So now in this batch, I'm showing you how to make a yellow-orange color, if that's the color set that you're using. So you would add more yellow to your orange.
To create a yellow.
Yes. And as you can see, it's getting lighter. And I would just keep adding yellow to that to get me until I feel comfortable with the yellow-orange color. So that's what you would do. So let's say you're going to make purple. You would have blue, and it's right up here for you to see. You would take blue and red, sorry, violet. You take equal parts blue, equal parts red to create your violet color. And if you want it to be blue violet, you would use more blue as opposed to the red. And if you want it to be red violet, you would use more red. So at 10:22, we can move on to the next step, and you can just look at the colors on the color wheel if you need it for creating your wash. You need me to go over the wash again for the people with the connection issues? Okay, so I'm just gonna make a orange wash now. And like I was saying before, if there's writing on the newspaper that's not the color that you want to work with, make sure to only use, well, to be aware of that so that you don't accidentally end up having a color that you don't want in your image. So I'm going to use yellow orange. So when you're doing the wash, if you start off with a lot of paint on your brush, it's going to be very thick. And the more water you add, the thinner the paint is going to get. And then you can see more of the words. And I was also saying that you could read the magazine and choose the words that you want in the background if you want to. So that's our orange wash. And you need to give it a chance to dry. You can't just go in and cut it. I would say this would take about maybe 10 minutes. This over here is still drying. The red wash is still drying. So we have a red wash and we have an orange wash. And I mapped out my image, my endangered animal from yesterday. So I know that I want to use the red newspaper wash in my leaves. And I'm going to show you how to apply this tomorrow. So today we're just creating the things that we need, but I put some on so that you can see how it can look.
So that's we're gonna
Yeah.
putting newspaper wash on.
We're applying all of the things, all of the different mediums that we created to our collage using the glue. So next, we're going to move on to the cardboard. So the cardboard, the texture is going to give you a ripply effect. So you could use this for, if you want to, your water. If you want to use it as your grass, you can. So this is a completed piece. I'm just going to show you how I got this.
We have a question from one of the students saying, do you have to use the paper?
The newspaper, if you don't want to, you don't have to.
Do you have any like suggestions for other kinds of materials they could use instead of newspaper?
Yes. So that's what we're doing right now, or do they mean for the wash specifically?
I believe so.
Oh, so for the wash specifically, You can use a white paper if you don't want any writing in the background, so that your color can also pop. If you want to use paper, well, there's two-tone paper, which is more durable for washes, because if you use like computer paper, you have to be careful not to use too much water options. You could use also chart paper. You could play around with using the different colors within your analogous set. So
Any kind of paper that they would like.
yeah, any kind of paper. Okay, so to create this, first thing, this is the cardboard for the Ripley effect. And I used it for my son on my piece. So depending on your size, on how much you want to use, you cut a piece. So to show you, I'm just gonna cut this small piece here. Oops, sorry. Okay, so once I have my piece cut, I'm going to tear the cardboard. So when you have the cardboard, you can see that there's like three pieces. There's one side over here, then in the middle is the Ripley part, and then there's another side on this side. So I'm going to tear off this first flat side. And sometimes it'll tear really easy, and sometimes it's going to take a while. Okay, so just keep tearing off the piece. Okay, and I got a good side right here now. But do not rush it. Take your time part that you're going to use. Now with these pieces right here, some of these left over. You can choose to leave this if you have it, or you could cut it off just by sliding your finger through, or the scissors will cut right through. But be careful, like I said, not to cut too deep. Might be easier to just use your nail. And you don't even have to cut off all of this if you don't want to, but tear off all of this if you don't want to. You can leave some on. And you're going to do this to the front, and you can leave the back on it too. If you do, it's going to be thicker. If you take it off, the back isn't going to show, which is why you have the option of leaving it on. But if you just thinner and easier to use. So because you can already see how it looks, I won't take off the back on this piece. Taking off the back is just simply tearing it off gently now to do, and I'm gonna get a clean paintbrush, is to apply a white base.
So why is it important to apply a white base
It's,
as
im-
opposed to just putting the paint part on?
it's important because it allows your color to pop more. So I'm gonna show you now. I'm just gonna paint some white on. Just a little bit. Now, it's important to cover this whole thing, but I want to show you first how it would look if I didn't paint it first. Let me use a clean paintbrush and show you how it would look with the yellow if I didn't paint it on. If I didn't paint the white first. So this is my yellow painting straight on the cardboard without applying the white base first. I think this is enough for them to see. Okay, so as you can see the difference, this cardboard has the yellow before the white paint was applied, and this cardboard has the yellow after the white paint is applied. And you can see that the color pops a lot more. Yeah. So you're going to apply this paint all over your cardboard completely. And this it's good to apply the paint even if you're using a darker color because it'll just allow your color to pop and be vibrant. And if you made the mistake by starting with the paint first, just allow this to dry and then you can paint your white over it. It's just going to be a longer process. So what I'll do for now is just paint this side up to here. Okay, and then you're going to leave that to dry. So with this, you can see that this takes a while. So you have to leave it to dry and then you come back and paint your color over this. So we're gonna come back and then paint the color over this. So now I'm gonna give you until about 10:33. You can take this time, peel your cardboard. It's 10:30 now. You can peel your cardboard and you can apply your paint. And we can look back at the color map to show you how to make the different colors. And remember, these are the primary colors and these are the secondary colors. And this here has all of the colors which are primary, secondary, and tertiary.
Could you explain the difference between primary colors, secondary colors, and tertiary colors?
Yes. So primary colors are the basic colors that can be used to produce other colors. Whereas secondary colors, well, let me tell you first. The primary colors are blue, red, and yellow. Yes. And secondary colors are colors created by adding equal amounts of the two primary colors together. So we get green, yes. So I'll go through each one. So we get, if you mix equal parts red, equal parts yellow, like I showed you, we'll get orange. If we mix equal parts yellow and blue, two primary colors, we'll get green. And if we mix equal parts of blue and red, we'll get violet, violet or purple. And the tertiary colors, which is on a separate chart over here. Now these colors are created by mixing a primary color and a secondary color, equal amounts of a primary color and a secondary color. So if we have our yellow, which is our primary color, and we have our orange, if we add equal amounts,
So
orange being the secondary color, if we add equal amounts of yellow and equal amounts of orange, we'll get yellow orange. And the same technique applies for all of the tertiary colors.
So we're combining primary,
And secondary.
making it tertiary.
Yeah. So you have 1 more minute, and then we're going to move on to using pastels. And after we're finished with pastels, we'll swing back to cardboard because it should be dried by then. I'm just going to move this out of the way, put it on the side to dry. I'm going to get ready for the pastels. So you don't have to use pastels. You can use coloring pencils. You can use crayons. Whatever you feel most comfortable with. You put a puff on top of this. Okay,
So for someone who doesn't know what pastels are, could you explain that really quickly?
so oil pastels,
Like how are they different from crayons?
they're different because the medium produced it's a bit thicker and it's, I would say it's more vibrant. And it just, like the name says, it feels oily. Okay, so all I'm going to do is simply color with these oil pastels. So I knew that from mapping out my colors that I wanted to use yellow, orange, and red in my water. So all I did was white background because I felt as though the color pops one. I'm going to show you after I'm finished painting, coloring this. After I'm finished coloring this, I'm going to show you the difference with painting on a different coloring on a different background. And when you're coloring one direction at a time, so you can take your time, don't rush. So I went diagonally. So now I think I'll go in a horizontal. And all of this is to cover up the white backdrop, the white paper. And now I'm going to take my orange. So now another thing that's different with oil pastels and coloring pencils and crayon pencils, coloring pencils and crayons is they blend easier. So once I apply this, if I apply this orange onto the yellow, you're gonna get like a yellow orangish color in some cases. If I go back over with the yellow, you can see the yellow orange color pretty much forming. So if this is something that you want, you know how to achieve it. And I'm just going to use some more orange. And remember I said one direction at a time. I went, I'd say diagonally again. So now I'm going to go horizontal. And as I do this, the white background. So I have my orange, I have my yellow, and I'll add some red to the mix. And you color this as big as you need to. So I just need to add some more yellow. I just want to smooth this a bit.
So you said you're using this for your water?
Yes.
Why did you choose these colors for the water?
Because I love the sunset look and I felt as though it would make my flamingo pop if I had these on the water as opposed to the sun. Like I said, at the end of the day, it's your piece of art. Whatever you feel most comfortable with, go ahead. Don't be afraid to think outside of the box, to explore, because this art is already unique because we have an orange flamingo. Your color, your animal is not going to look the color that it's supposed to look. So it's going to look different. If you manage to get that, I'm sure the ocean is going to look a different color than it's supposed to look normally. So this is how you get your oil pastel or your coloring pencil. This just gives the image a different texture as opposed to just finding the paper and just cutting out those colors. And I also wanted to show you how it would look against a different colored backdrop. So let me cut this off. These are the same colors that I used, just on a red paper as opposed to a white paper. So The colors don't pop as much, but you still have a different effect going on. So if you want to do something like that, you can. So it's 10:30 now, about 10:42, 10:43. You could use this time to color, and you're coloring as big as you want, how much of this texture that you want to use on your mixed media piece. And I guess we could go back to the colors so they could see. They could be reminded of the colors that they're using. So just another reminder, analogous colors are a group of 5 colors next to each other that are next to each other on the color wheel. So to pick your analogous colors, you could pick your the color that you want to work with, let's say red, and you can either go to the left of you, and that's your 5, or you can go to the right, and that's your 5.
1,
3, 4, 5. You can pick green, and it's the exact same process. You go to the left, or you go to the right. Whichever your favorite color is, you're just picking the 5 colors right next to that
all
color.
of, if we wanted green, all of these would be our 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah. Okay, so you have 2 more minutes to color. And then we're going to go back to the cardboard, and we're just going to be painting over that white to show how the color is going to pop. And all of these colors, all of these different materials that we're making, these different mediums, are going to be used on your collage. And that's why it's called a mixed collage, because you do various mediums as opposed to just magazines. Okay, so 1 more minute. I could put up the materials that I'm not using. It's good to keep the area as clean as possible with things that you don't need out of the way. If you have a garbage nearby, you can throw it in the garbage. Okay, just 1 more minute. I can get my paintbrush ready. Get my paintbrushes that I'm not using in the water, because if you have paintbrushes out, they're going to dry up and they're going to be difficult to use. So it's always important to wash your paintbrushes whenever you're finished using them, or put them in the water until you're ready to use them again. So now I'm going to show you how I'm painting my cardboard, and I'm going to paint it orange. And like I said, this cardboard, it could be used for water, it could be used as your background. It's whatever you feel most comfortable with. And I'm using the yellow orange. So it's also important to make sure that your brush is dry, as you're going to end up with like a water color effect where it looks watery like this. So that's a lot better. And the color pops a lot more. So had I painted this white, I would have painted here and you would see that it popped. But for anyone who's just joining, I'm just going to show you the importance of applying the white once more. It affects how the color looks, because it doesn't pop as much against the cardboard. Yes. So all of this around here, this is white. This was white, painted white first, and then we painted our color on. And this area, we just painted the color on, so you can see the difference. It still looks kind of brown from the cardboard, but over here, you can see the yellow-orange effect. Okay, so I'll give you 2 minutes. You can paint your work. And then we're gonna do our last medium, which is just to draw a design. on the paper. So I'm gonna get the white paper bar, and I'm gonna use pastels again. Pair of pastels. Using my colors, I'm gonna get those again. Okay, this is orange. I'm just gonna draw some designs, some abstract designs for me. If you have specific designs that you wanna draw on your piece, you can, that's fine. So you have 1 more minute to paint, and then I'm gonna start with the next step. Just a reminder, the 4 animals that we're using are the rock iguana, the Bahamas cutia. These animals should have been sent to you via email. Well, they were sent to you via email. The West Indian flamingo and the loggerhead turtle. All of these animals are extinct. Sorry, endangered. It's a big difference because extinct would mean they aren't here with us anymore. They're all gone, but these endangered, meaning that there are a small number of them around and we need to protect them so that the number can one day grow. Okay, so I'm just going to show you some designs. So I want to do circular designs. I'm just going to draw in a circle. And I'm going to mix the colors. So I'm going to now add the red. Add some red notes on my circle. And then add some yellow. And at the end of the day, you're going to do whatever you feel most comfortable with. Ooh. So I have some wind blowing. So I'm just going to move these to the side so that they aren't in your way. So if you can see me. I'm going to go over this again.
What are some other shapes or designs?
Okay, so that right there is a circle. We could do a triangle. We could do a little baby triangle in here. And fill this part in, so I have 3 triangles. If you know you want to put a heart on your piece, but you can't find a heart, or you want to use the pastels for your heart, you could draw it. And don't be afraid to mix colors. What's this orange again? And if your design gets lost, you could go bigger, or when you cut it, like I'll show you tomorrow, you can cut out your design again to make sure that it's more prominent. Oh no. So that's an important thing. Make sure not to press too hard with your pastels. Okay, I think I lost my heart, but it was there at one point. We try to bring it back. Okay. Okay. So just different things, and you could even just have fun with it. Just scribble, and you'll never know. Close your eyes, just scribble, and you never know what you'll come up with and what you like at the end of it. Oh, so I have one more thing to show you actually. The magazine using the paper to create fur. So I'm gonna give you until about maybe 10:52 to just draw your scribbles on your paper. And you could use the exact same paper. Like if you had a big paper like me, half of this could be used for just straight coloring with your pastels. And with your drawings, you don't have to use pastels again. You could use pen for a different texture. You could use markers over here. If you have colored markers, feel free to get creative. You can even just use the paint and just color on your designs on this side. It's whatever you feel comfortable. You could take the paint, um, dip it in some water, and please make sure to put some newspaper down so that you don't mess up the surroundings. If you're doing this inside, you just splatter, splatter some paint down, and that could be used for your water as well, or for your sky, for your background. And so the harder you go down, and the more water you have in your brush, the bigger the splatters are going to be. So that's an option. So remember to get creative. So now you can use this time to color, and then I'll show you how to get your feathers. Well, a different way that you can get your feathers for your flamingo and your hutia. And then this would be the last thing. And you could go and have fun with creating all your pieces that we're going to use tomorrow to create our collage. So let me get this stuff together. Okay, so one more minute. Okay, so I'm using a Welcome Bahamas book because I love the colors that I can find in this book. Um, I like magazines because they have a little shiny texture. It's different as opposed to using paper. So that's a different option that you could use. So these are my colors that I want my flamingo to be. But I want my flamingo to have some texture. Like I want his leaves to have a 3D, his feathers to have a 3D effect. So all I would do is take my scissors, take my paper, and then I cut little strips. And now, however big you want your strips depends on how you drew your image. And I'm going to show you without applying it tomorrow. That is very important not to lose your outline that you have. And like I said before, you could use a marker and outline everything now, or you could use black paper, magazine to outline your endangered friend. Okay, so I'm cutting my strips. Your strips can be even. They can all be equal in size, or you can make them curvy if you want to. If you have one of those scissors that crimp, like when you cut it crimps, you could use that as well. That's pretty fun. And this is pretty much in tomorrow's lesson. But when you have the paper like this, once you apply it using the glue, you get kind of like a feathery effect. So today, The thing with this is you're going to need a lot. So you could use today if you know that you want to use the feathers, tie it and everything. If you know that you want to use feathers, you cut out a bunch of strips. If you have one of your animals in the grass, you can also use these strips. Let me see if I have a plain background. So you can use these strips. You put a bunch down and that's your grass. So you got to use your imagination as opposed to just finding an image of grass and cutting it out. You could create your own grass using pretty colors. So that's one way that you could use the strip. So like I said, it's a long process depending on the size that you're using. So it'd be good to make sure cut out everything today. Everything that you want to use, we went over the wash with the newspaper. We did the cardboard that could be used for the sea or the sun or the background. We went over creating the pastel, like creating the background with the pastel. With mine, I cut out my background and I cut it into different shapes. I'm going to show you that tomorrow when I applied it. Ooh, I want this to get dirty. Then we use the pastel. Like I said, you could use different mediums to go and create different drawings that you're gonna cut out, or you could use some paint. So for your homework, I would like for you to think of a different medium that we didn't create today, and you could create that if you would like. If you feel as though you can think of something even more fun to do, please do and share it with us tomorrow, okay? That's all for today. Does anyone have any questions? All of the information on what the endangered species need, they can be found on the flyer. And remember, you need to incorporate at least at least two elements that your endangered species needs to survive. So remember, mine's how this worm that he's gonna eat later for food, and then he's on the beach, so he has his water, has his leaves to relax. Don't be afraid to get creative. Your flamingo could wear a bow. Your turtle could have he could be on what do you call him, a surfboard. Okay, so have fun with your art piece. It's yours at the end of the day. It's what you want to create. You're not getting a grade. If you do get a grade, it's A+ for creativity. So this is your work, and that's it for the day. So bye everybody.